What would you give to have perfect eyesight? A faster metabolism? To be a few inches taller? Or more muscular? For most of history, we've had to deal with the genetic hand we've been dealt, and a lot of times that's not much fun. Genetic disorders, diseases, and inadequacies have plagued our species for thousands of years. But what if we could change all that? The answer may be closer than we think. After 250,000 years of slow, natural evolution, humanity is on the cusp of having the ability to edit the very building blocks of our being. In the past few decades, we've developed tools that help doctors and expecting parents to anticipate any serious health conditions their child may have, such as hereditary diseases and Down syndrome. To some people, these tests already raise ethical red flags, as in many cases, especially outside the United States, the majority of women choose to terminate their pregnancy if the warning signs of Down syndrome are detected. As our technology advances, we'll be able to move from detection of these conditions to removal, the first step down the road to so-called designer babies. The hope or concern is that soon enough we'll graduate from selecting out the bad genes to selecting in more favorable ones. This is where many people begin to cry eugenics and advocate extreme caution. Most people would probably agree that eliminating diseases like Huntington's or quality of life disabilities like poor eyesight would be a good thing. And some even suspect that not editing out these genes would constitute an ethical failure in the future. But what about giving your child a leg up on the competition by sprinkling in traits like increased height or musical proficiency or above average intelligence? While the technology to do this is on its way, we're not there just yet, and it's expected to be very expensive, at least at first. You might think, well, if you've got the money for it and it's legal, why not? You're just giving your child the best shot at a successful life. Consider the following scenario. A wealthy couple decide they want to enhance their baby's genes. The average woman typically has 15 eggs extracted for an in vitro fertilization procedure. Those 15 potential children will likely differ in IQ by about 20 to 30 points. The parents will be able to select the child or children with superior intelligence to carry to term. Doesn't seem like that big of a deal on the surface, but what happens when the top 10% of society can afford the procedure, but the rest of the population can't? Now you have a society divided not only by the rapidly increasing wage gap, but also by a new intelligence gap, with wealthy children being far more likely to succeed than the 90% below them. This would further stratify our world into the haves and have-nots, with modified people only marrying and reproducing with other modifieds, thus keeping their gene pool more desirable. The solution for this type of situation would be to make genetic modification accessible to all people, giving everyone the ability to at least screen out disease and disabilities like poor eyesight. But when we begin to dabble in aesthetic or additive modifications, we get to the real dilemma of genetic engineering. Just because we can do something doesn't necessarily mean we should do it. First comes the issue of deciding what this perfect human would look like. If we learned anything from Germany during World War II, it's that when one group dictates what features are best, it can cause some serious problems. When parents can start designing their ideal babies like a piece of custom furniture, there's a real danger that people will become competitive, adding modifications in a never-ending quest to build the ultimate human child. Then, of course, there's the fact that our technology is rarely infallible. What happens when a couple orders a 6'4" Greek god of a child and he only grows up to be 6'1"? Could they demand a refund? Would they feel cheated out of the product they ordered? How would their child feel about being considered inferior, and how would society treat him? Then there's the international angle. China is already known for its questionable social engineering practices, such as limiting families to one child and taking children away from their parents to be enrolled in Olympic training schools in an attempt to build future champions. It doesn't take much imagination to assume that in a country like that, genetic modification would be seen as a very good thing. Parents wouldn't have to worry about their one child being insufficient. They could order a smart, strong, handsome male who would grow up to take care of his parents just like they'd always wanted. Olympic training schools would be packed with modified children suited to each event. Greater lung capacity and endurance for distance runners, a smaller, leaner build for gymnasts, longer limbs for swimmers. When other countries use genetic modification to gain a competitive edge, whether in sports or other more serious applications, what are the rest of us to do? It would be harmful to allow ourselves to be made non-competitive, but what would it cost to keep up? It would be expensive, of course, but extreme genetic engineering may also cost us some of our humanity. And of course, there's the potential for unforeseen health consequences to arise in modified children. DNA is incredibly complex, and many traits aren't simply a one-gene switch. What happens when we accidentally negate a gene that protects against a disease we have no experience with? Tinkering with systems we don't fully understand is a good way to end up in big trouble. At the end of the day, we have some important questions to consider. When the technology is widely available, will we have an ethical responsibility to modify our children to prevent disease or disability? Or is that just a part of being human? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. You may have noticed Second Thought has a shiny new logo. If you like the look of it, come check out our new merch store and pre-order a t-shirt or vinyl stickers. They'll be shipping in about 3 weeks, so now's your chance to be the cool kid on the block and get them first. As an added bonus just for being awesome, the first 50 people to visit standard.tv/secondthought will get 10% off their entire order. That includes purchases from some of our other favorite creators too, like Wendover Productions, Real Engineering, and Kurzgesagt. So be sure to visit our merch store using the link below and get 10% off your order today. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, smash that bell, and check out these videos next. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.